Morning everyone, welcome back. Well, it's afternoon now, I guess, isn't it? Welcome back to the channel, Stephen Howson, Transfer Talk. We're going to be talking the ins, we're going to be talking the outs, and then we'll go down whatever garden path you want to take it down. Let us know how's it going in the comments. Let us know what you're up to on this fine Tuesday. It's not as cold as it was yesterday. It was bitter, wasn't it, yesterday? It was absolutely Baltic. Righty then, let's kick it off then for Fabrizio Romano. It says Manchester United signing another player this month depends on the opportunities. Let's see if something will be available in the market. United will be ready. If something happens, I think it will be for a midfielder. Hence why we've gone with Gravenberch in the title. Now, on Gravenberch, the strongest links have seen him towards Liverpool in recent days, but it's also plausible that Manchester United could get in the mixer as well. We've seen the limitations of United's midfield outside of Casemiro. There's an existing relationship between Gravenberch and Erik Ten Hag. And that would be a very, very shrewd deal for him. He rose through the ranks as a youngster at Ajax, cemented himself as a first-teamer on a regular basis under Ten Hag. His development at Ajax was so impressive. Like Ten Hag, he left the Johan Cruyff Arena in the summer, joining Bayern Munich on a 5-year deal. But he struggled to get the game time everyone sort of expected he would get in Germany. And he's not actually started a single Bundesliga fixture this season, which is a bit of a shock. He's made just 10 appearances from the bench, which have amounted to 177 minutes in total. He was an unused sub at the weekend, and he struggled for opportunities in the cup competitions as well. So whatever's going on, Ten Hag might be the guy to bring him back and get him going again. He set the world alight with some seriously eye-catching and dazzling performances at Ajax, so much so that he was just a regular starter by the time he was 18. He's tall, he's physical, he's got an ability to link plays, a genuine box-to-box midfielder. He's like almost like a budget version of Jude Bellingham in what he does on the ball. Probably a slight bit more defensive-minded than Jude Bellingham. But that's the sort of trajectory that you thought he was going to be taking on, but he just hasn't kicked on at all since he's been in Germany. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that one. Could Manchester United swoop in, say, listen, how about we develop him? We continue his development. It's a different league in the Premier League, blah, 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 blah. There'd probably be some little fee involved, I imagine. It would be really interesting to see if United could pull that one off or not. Now, Florian Plettenberg has said on Gravenberch, it's decided and no doubt he has to stay at Bayern. No transfer in January with a club they still believe in him. And he says a loan to Liverpool or another club is no topic. So that seems to pour a little bit of water on it. But sometimes you see that sort of stuff and it's just incorrect. But I would love to see at least the inquiry from United, because you never know. There's a good relationship between Bayern and United, so that'd be an interesting one. Next up then, in fact, actually, get your comments in. What's your thoughts on Gravenberch? Chiver Spilling Media says, Gravenberch ain't it. I'm an Eindhoven fan for decades. He's a lazy player off the ball. On the ball is very creative and strong. Would rather go for Xavi Simons. Not sure that's the player United need, in all honesty. I think we need someone with a little bit more grit about him. Benjamin says, long-standing fan of McTominay here. But I've had enough now. Gravenberch would be ideal to come in. Miles better option than McFred. Then I'd love us look at Kenneth Taylor in the summer. Anyone will be an upgrade on McTominay, says Lee Seymour. United should get him on loan, says Waswa. I think that's what I would try and do. Give him a bell, see what the score is. Ed says, would love Gravenberch. Can't see Bayern putting an option to buy. They know the kid could come good. I think he'd be a brilliant loan signing. And ultimately, I was talking about this yesterday on Vibe with 5. Did United get Vegas because he's the best striker in the world? No, we didn't. We got him because he's got a particular set of skills that we like, and most importantly, he was available. Even though he was in a pretty complicated situation, he was actually available, and we managed to get him done. Like, I hope United go stronger in the summer. A lot of this is just who the fuck knows, because you've got like the who even going to own Manchester United come June and July. We don't even know the answer to that at the moment. Someone says in the comments there, Mohammed says, what about Tillman? Tillman for me again would be a brilliant shout. Brian Case says Enzo Fernandez. Absolutely. Andy says, Steve, what about McAllister? Look, at Brighton, at the moment, are being absolutely rinsed, aren't they? But they're going for big, big dough. So I probably would stay away from McAllister because I imagine the cash would be outrageous. Ion says, Tielemans and Neves. I think I've said that for years, actually. That actual pairing. Tielemans and Neves would be brilliant. Tielemans and Neves could be brilliant rotation and understudy options, and even just like a different way of playing options behind Casemiro and Eriksen. They'd be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't they? Lee Seymour says, sell McTominay now for 30 million, get Tielemans for 12 to 15 million in January. I wonder if someone's trying to make those moves happen. Tielemans right now would be absolutely sensational. Rob says, Steve, with Bale retired, there's a right wing position free in that Wales team. Do you want to lace up? I'm left-footed for starters, so actually maybe the way modern football is, I probably could play. I played a left back or left wing, so playing right wing's alien, but I guess everyone's inverted now, aren't they? So probably could. Bison Trooper says, who'd paid 30 million for McTominay? Well, to be fair, Newcastle wanted 50 for Longstaff, so I think you'd comfortably be good at getting 30 for him. You got to remember, this is a Premier League player with experience. He's got to go for 30, otherwise you've just been mugged. Oceanman says, Plettenberg again. Oh, sorry, on Plettenberg again on Oceanman this time. Says, Victor Oceanman is still on the list of United, but no longer the top transfer target in summer. Big problem. Too expensive. Napoli want more than 100 million euros, and the MUFC board isn't willing to pay that price. Malo Gusto saw this one hotting up. Chelsea are now on the scene. I mean, has anyone told Chelsea that they can't have 95 players register? Because I'm not sure that they know that. And if they don't know that, then there's probably going to be some huge bargains when it gets to August and someone's client doesn't get registered and they're going to have to try and get them out of Chelsea with a quickness. But Fabrice Walkins talking about Malo Gusto, says United have made contact with Malo Gusto and attempt to encourage him not to be hasty in making a decision as Chelsea push. Love that, because for me, Malo Gusto is a genuine option for Manchester United as a potential starting right back in the future. And it'd be a nightmare if he went to Chelsea, because ultimately they're probably going to favour Reece James. Players out, you're looking at Maguire and McTominay. And Alex Crook has said United are ready to cash in on both Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay, but in the summer. Maguire's been subject to interest from West Ham this month, while United have rejected approaches for Scott McTominay from both Newcastle and Southampton. Maybe if we can line up a replacement like a Tielemans, they might do that. Although I don't know if the potential sale of the club is complicating us doing that. It does seem that we could probably only get somebody in on a cheeky little loan rather than a permanent transfer. Matt says there's some good players out of contract soon or a year left, and I feel like United would be too slow as usual to act and miss out on those deals. I get the vibe they're all going to go play in Saudi Arabia. I think that the team Ronaldo's gone to, that I don't even know the name of, is trying to build a bit of a super squad, and I think it'd probably be quite boring. Tariq says every time Chelsea lose a match or get a suspension, they buy a player. They realise that they've got to keep these forever, right? That they're not just like, it's not a new toy to play with today and then get rid of it tomorrow. Steve says, what happened to financial fair play rules, and then they change it with the offside rule? And David says, like China a few years back. Yeah, could be. China went on a madness for a few years, didn't they? And they only had a few sort of foreign nationals playing in each team, but then the Chinese government said, no, it's too many, and they made it. Did they completely cancel all foreign players, or did they limit it massively to like 2? I can't remember what happened, but it was something along those lines where it limited it, and then they limited their spending, and then all of the contracts that existed just got like ripped up. Fadil says, what if we get Scott back to being a striker? I think he was a decent striker. No, he wasn't. Ion says, have you seen the many reports linking Vlahovic to United? I've seen some reports of him. I don't know if I've seen many that I actually fully believe. I think Vlahovic would be interesting. But yeah. Brian Case says, UEFA are changing the laws from the summer. I did see that yesterday, limiting to 5-year contracts. Yeah, because those 8-year contracts are carnage. They're absolute carnage. And they're not going to work for either the club or the player. They're just a bad idea all round. Sebastian says, United really need Jude Bellingham and Enzo Fernandez in the summer. Kolo Muane or Andre Silva, number 9, and a centre-back, Levi Colwill, and Josip Sotalo. I don't think you'd be buying a centre-back. I agree Levi Colwill, though. I think he's a hell of a player. And he's been quite rightly getting plaudits and even been talked about for an England call-up, which I think is a bit brave for Gareth Southgate, so it probably won't happen. In terms of, I don't think you're getting Bellingham and Enzo, because that's probably now going to be somewhere in the region of about 180, 200 million outlay. And then you're not getting a striker if you do that. So you might get one of those. As much as I'd love Jude Bellingham at United, I can't get excited that he's going to come. I just think he's destined to either go City, or there seems to be a lot of talk linking him to Liverpool, but I don't know. Big Trev says, why is Ward-Prowse never an option? Don't know. And Natalie says, what happens with De Gea, in my opinion? I think he takes a pay cut and stays, or he doesn't and he goes. Sean says, think Ten Hag should tap into the Bundesliga besides Eredivisie. Well, this is the one thing that does worry me with Ten Hag at the moment, and it's less about Ten Hag and more about the structure of what's going on at Manchester United. If we're reliant on Erik Ten Hag being the one who's doing the scouting, approving of everything, of transfers, that's a problem. The way it should happen is he's meant to flag up and say, I want a first choice or a backup or a whatever, an option, whatever level of player he wants. Let's just say, for example, let's use number 9 because we all know that we're desperate. He's probably going to say, I want a genuine world-class striker that can get me 25 goals, and it needs to have hold-up play, someone like 6'2" or bigger. And then he goes to the scouting department, and they should look into both the eye test version of scouting, but the first protocol is the data analysis. They go and find someone who fits the profile on a data. Then they'll look at the video clips of him. If it still matches, that'll provide a shortlist. Then they will send scouts out to go and watch the 8 people on the shortlist. They might narrow that 8 down to 5 after they've watched them. And then they present their reports to Ten Hag. And then I would hope Erik Ten Hag looks at those reports. Maybe you already had 2 or 3 of those in a gut feeling. They might go and speak to the clubs. You might get told, absolutely not, absolutely not. Talk to us. This is how much. And then your shortlist of 8 becomes a shortlist of 3 or 4. Then the manager might go and watch them, and he comes back and goes, this is the one that I want. That's how I would hope it works. It might not work like that, but that's how I hope it would work. Tarek says, Bellingham, Enzo, Rice, any of those 2, best in the world potential for sure. Witterbird says, even in the Ten Hag autobiography, it states how much he's involved in recruitment. I haven't read that. What's the name of the book? Mirage says, Steve, do I see Enzo as a DM? If not, are there any world-class young DMs in the market? Off the top of my head, yes, there's loads. Tons. Enzo's more of a creator. Lee Seymour says, United need to start doing what Sunderland, buying up the best young talent that aren't getting games at their club for a fraction of their future value. Difficult to do that when you're Manchester United. Suki says they won't sign anyone as they are looking to sell, but Liverpool's are looking to sell, they're still buying. And Nathan says, are we having a party for Glazers leaving because I'm coming from Ireland? Yes, it will be sausage rolls galore. Palestri to start tomorrow, says Irons. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, with the form Anthony's in. I think that would be a great opportunity to give someone else a look in. Brian says, could see Ahmad coming back in the summer, doing pretty well at Sunderland. There'll be a video coming out on him later this week, so keep an eye out for that one. Vishan says, we need someone who can deputise for Casemiro short term, even if it's just a loan to the end of the season. I'm all for it. Don't have money to pay elite players right now. I agree. The drop-off when we don't see Casemiro is enormous. Matt F says, Jason Sanchez to get minutes tomorrow. I think it's still a little bit soon for him, but he's going to have to get some minutes pretty soon, isn't he? I would think maybe Reading at weekend might be the option for that. Cooker Degree says, doubt Sancho plays tomorrow, probably in ball for Reading. Yep, same thing I just said. Anyways, that's it from me. I want to know in the comments, what are your thoughts on Gravenberch as a potential loan option? Does he tick all the boxes? For me, I think he does. And certainly in terms of deputising from Casemiro, I think you could send him back to Bayern, totally rejuvenated. I actually think it would be such a good thing for him to come to United, give us a bit of strength in depth. It's a player the manager knows, so you know the trust is there already, and I think that would be the one. But cheers for tuning in as always. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms.